Hello my friends and welcome to FISHTORY. Today we are at AFA here in San Francisco. Here is Aqua Forest Aquarium, an incredible shop that is modeled after ADA style shop. Absolutely beautiful aquascapes, nature aquariums, nanoscapes, and it is one of the premier aquarium and aquascape shops in all the United States. So as we walk in, you're just overwhelmed by tissue cultures and by aquascapes. Beautiful iwagumi style with the Siryu rock. You got the ember tetras here with the beautiful rotala and smaller plants in the background. They'll grow up into a wall if need be. And then they've got the Anubias and more texturized, maybe a Cypress Helfra, I can't tell for sure. And then the carpeting, dwarf baby tears and Monte Carlo type things as the standard, you know, when you're doing an iwagumi. Very cool. Here it looks like they may have just reset recently, but they're using a framework that they're definitely going to grow some larger plants like the Echinodorus. And they've also put in like Starrogen repens and some of the smaller hair grasses so that your eye, the farther you look into the tank, the bigger the leaves are, so that it kind of draws you in. And here you've kind of got tension rather than harmony with the kind of angles coming together, but it also puts the focal point right here. So this is going to grow in absolutely beautifully. These guys definitely know what they're doing, and it's so cool to see it on display in a place where you can come and then buy the rocks, the plants, and all the tools. And I'm sure you can come talk to the people and learn some of the know-how. All right, well, I am here at AFA in San Francisco with the owner himself. And what is your name?
George.
George. And how long has this place been here?
We've been here since 2005.
Wow.
So, you know,
going on almost 20 years.
Almost 20 years.
You're probably the oldest, one of the oldest, if not the oldest, aquascape, Japanese, Amano style. Very cool. And, you know, have you seen the hobby change a lot since you started? Has it grown? Is it, you know, are more people getting into it?
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Yeah.
So much more people getting into it. So much more varieties of plants are
Yes.
available now.
Yeah.
When we first started, we didn't have
The
bottles.
tissue. Oh, wow.
Monte Carlo.
Right.
We had hobbyists
Yeah.
growing them in ice cubes.
Yeah.
Brought it into the store and sell as the homegrown plants. Yeah.
Very cool. So where are you located in San Francisco?
Everyone's welcome, and we are located in on Fillmore Street.
Fillmore?
1718 Fillmore Street.
Okay, great.
And we're right next to the San Francisco Japantown.
Okay, awesome. So yeah, guys, come down, get a good meal, check out the beauty of nature. They just reset, and these are going to be changing probably from when you've seen this video. They are living pieces of art that are absolutely beautiful. And please come check out, you know, the forerunner in the industry, one of the first people in the country to be doing this. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you for coming.
All right, so let's take a look at some of these aquascapes right when you walk in. Now, you may think, oh, it's just silver tip tetras or just cardinal tetras, just a mono shrimp. But in here, they look absolutely stunning when they draw your eye, especially when you've got that backlit, you know, the background, the moss all cultured onto the hardscape. Looks absolutely beautiful. You can see the carpet's still growing in, not quite, you know, ready. And a lot of people think of aquascapes as, you know, a picture, and they want it in their home aquarium. They want it to be, you know, something that they replicate at home. And if you want that, it's definitely attainable. But the more picturesque or diorama-ish you want your tank, the more maintenance you're going to put into it. And some people are not going to want to do trimming, you know, 2 or 3 times a week to keep things this neat and tidy. And the other thing to remember is some of these tanks, their whole life for 6 months or a year or 2 years is to grow out for one picture from one angle for a competition. So it's not always grown out the way you would expect, where every angle looks the way you would expect. There are optical tricks you can use in the rule of thirds, things like that, that really make a huge difference when you are setting these up. Now, another thing I want to comment on is look at the size of these tanks. I can assure you these fish are very happy. Look at how colorful they are, and yet they are in an extremely small container, no more than a few gallons, maybe 2, maybe not even 2, and yet there's plants growing that are purling, and this is just due to light. They don't even have CO2 running in this one, I don't think. It's just a shallow enough low boy type style profile that's providing enough lumens to grow the baby tiers. Over here they've got a small CO2 setup, and they also have a small filter that then runs underneath, and you can see that makes a huge difference with the colors and with the finer details, things like the white on the Anubias, things like the red on the Hygropinnatifada. And look at the just beautiful delicate Amano shrimp cleaning and working on that algae that's on the wood, just slowly cleaning itself and the wood. And then they've got Pseudomagil luminatus, or the neon red, sometimes they're called that, blue eyes. And I think they look absolutely beautiful with the dark, coque rock. And there's more Amanos up here. So that's what's keeping the algae at bay while this becomes immersed. So this tank will very likely either become immersed or they'll trim it back down. But if it becomes immersed, look at those rich colors that the CO2, the light, and likely a fertilizing regime would provide. Now these are two tanks that are very clearly just recently set up. And here you've got kind of the more typical, hill stream or mountain stream kind of look with the sand and the planting in the back. They really give you a lot of different options for what kind of tank you'd set up. They've also got the sloping back this way, and yet again, they're using the Iwagumi style with the 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 with the little rock style. Usually the big rock is obviously the biggest, but then the next biggest rock is going to be no more than 2/3 the size of the biggest rock. Then the next two smaller rocks are going to be roughly the same size, but they should be no more than 2/3 the size of this rock. And the tiny stone is considered the throwaway stone or the baby stone, and it can be just about any size. But in here they've got these little tetras, and it makes these delicate fish just look oh so beautiful. And again, you can see they had some Java fern here, but just like everybody, every once in a while you get algae. So what you do is you work on manually removing that. You work on getting helpers like little Amano shrimp or fish that are going to work on that. And then, you keep it up. You may want to move things out of the light or cut back on ferts, things like that. And you guys can check out my other videos for the tips and tricks on that. But look how they're preparing this. Even though it's not grown out right now, they've got this beautiful layering of color with AR Mini maybe and the smaller rotalas and things in the back that will come up as kind of a wall or curtain that then will draw the eye in as well as the wood. So they're working on many different layers. They've got these different textures. They've got this wispy grass, maybe Cypress hellfry or some sort of grass. And it just looks really, really beautiful. So let's check out the rest of the store. Keeping all this in mind, look how small this is. I mean, very cool. And you can buy it already set up for $266. Now that may be expensive to some, it may be shockingly low price to others, but it takes years of work to learn how to set something up like this. Here they've got kind of an open top, maybe Wabikusa would kind of thing, or paludarium without the enclosure. Whereas up here we've got the full-on terrarium, paludarium, or riparium effect where the humidity stays locked in. Now this store has tons of tissue cultures that we don't get to see in Seattle. It also has tons of gear by ADA, Aqua Design Amano, of course, Do Aqua, and their tissue culture selection is phenomenal. See, they've got even the rare, white Anubias strains and things like that. They've got pieces of stone ready for you to go here. They got this quirky round tank right here, which is always a challenge to decide what to do, but this is actually a good tank for a few goldfish. You got the heavy duty Java ferns, so they're not going to eat it. Also the Anubias, not going to chew through that anytime soon. Yet they're nice and aerated, plenty of water. It's a good way to do goldfish if you really demand a goldfish bowl in your life. Let's come over here and take a look at this series stone tank a little closer here. And you can see here the substrate is already starting to stratify, get the banding. You can see everything from cyano to algae that a lot of people don't like the look of, but in older tanks and tanks like mine at home, you know, they start out looking perfect like this, and over time they stratify. And over time then, if you have rooted plants, you can then introduce new things. So you could put something in really interesting, like a focal point plant with roots, you know. You can put the things like the delicate plants in the back now, they'll grow in really thick, and you just trim the crown off and then replant that, and it will stay these bright, beautiful colors, and they can actually get kind of a Dutch aquascape effect by, you know, separating by color and texture of plant. When you do this, though, you're open to the whim of how strong the light is and how many ferts you're using and how many water changes you do. But here you can see they've got a CO2 diffuser, an atomizer kind of thing, and they've got shrimp working overtime in here, both Neocaridina and a mono, and I think it looks really lovely, especially this Anubias with that kind of, it may be a new type, but I think it might just be that it's a little bit anemic and you can see the veins, but I'm not sure, I'll have to ask. Here you can see they've got lava rock stone. And as you come into their actual fish shop portion of their store, you're also still greeted by beautiful plants. Hello my friends, I'm saving you an outro. Before we explore the rest of the store, I just want to thank you so much. Thank you to the members, thank you to all of you who watch, who go back and check out the old videos. You guys make it possible for me to take trips like this, get speaking arrangements like this, and go see things that then I can show you. So it wouldn't be possible without you, and I just want to thank you. To become a member, it's only $1.99 on this channel, or you can back me on Patreon, and soon we'll be rolling out a Discord. Have a great day and enjoy the rest of the tour, which I always appreciate. Also, educational books, reference books, all the classics, all the stuff you can't get in the US anymore unless you're a weirdo like me who collects it online. And just really cool selection of fish also in their planted tanks. Yet again, when you have planted tanks and you have, you know, 80 of them, you may get little bits of algae, you may get little bits of this or that, but they're healthy, and the fish look so much more vibrant, so much, you know, more colorful. And also you've got examples of all the tissue cultures, you know, what they look like when the bulbitis grows out, what the Anubias is going to do if you tie it to a stone, and, you know, all these things are also available. Now in here they've got apistos, and they also have these little Pseudomagil Aru2s. Very cool. Here they've got some little whiptail catfish. Really neat store. And even more tissue cultures here. I'm with Ivan Mikolji and Luke from, you wanna shout out the SAS Club?
Out here hanging with the speakers from the Findig that the Sacramento Aquarium Society just put on.
So thank you for having us, Luke. I wouldn't be here without you guys, without the club.
Really glad to have
And I wouldn't get to meet Ivan either, all the way from Venezuela. So very cool to come out to the Bay Area and get to chat with a bunch of fellow fish and plant lovers. I'll take you guys through some of these tanks now, and you don't need to listen to me comment on everything, but what I would like to point out is that we've got the diamond tetra right here. And if you've seen mine are fully grown and quite regal. They have the color on them, the purple and the green in the body. These may be a little stressed. Maybe it's just that they're, you know, a different line. But this is why we are here, why Ivan and I are together, and we are going to get together on my channel and discuss it as well about reintroducing these to Lake Valencia. An absolutely beautiful fish when it's in the wild, and we have access to the original strains that were in the region and that are still in the region, and we will breed them out at the Museum of Natural History down there in Valencia, and then we will reintroduce them. So here they've got plenty of like apistos and small tank friendly fish. They've got the chocolate gouramis, which are absolutely phenomenal, and various other, there's some wild autosynclus in here as well. We'll continue on to the plant tank because it looks absolutely beautiful. Look at the colors here. So Here you can see they've got a whole tank with thread fins in here. They're probably using that as a spawning mop, honestly. And they've got Lobelia gigantica, plenty of different, there's Lobelia cardinalis, Italian val, jungle val, Hygro arguia, and AR and AR mini, Ludwigia palustra, which that's the one that you guys have seen me working with in Seattle. And check out this, they've actually got moss growing up the back wall as well as Sawasserton. And it looks like a great little background. Very cool. Also the Nicaea, very, very cool. And I just like seeing these colorful stem plants. These are what Luke and I nerd out over, trade. Limnophilia aromatica, that's a medicinal plant in a lot of the world, as is Bacopa monieri. And here they've got, you know, Pogostemon, Becanicis. I haven't seen this around much either, Rotala Fujian. And here's the Bacopa caroliniana, which again, that is a medicinal plant to a lot of indigenous cultures. Here you can see more of this dark angel Anubias, really beautiful dark Anubias. Very cool. More Bucephalandra, more Anubias. Also some banana plants, some Crinum calamastrana. Looks like Nymphaea aquatica going on here. Very cool. Interesting. Sagittaria Plutophilia. I have or Platophilia. I don't know this one by name. I probably would have called it dwarf sag also, honestly. But it looks like it is a medium size. So it looks like someone came in and knew their stuff and, you know, wrote it down. Good prices too, you know, $5.99 for a bunch of these plants, which is great. In here, Hydrocotyl coriambosa, not a rare plant whatsoever, but only $5.99 for a really beautiful bunch. So you could do well in San Francisco with a shop like this around. Yet again, look at this, more Anubias. Every kind of Anubias that you can imagine. Every kind of Echinodorus that you can imagine. All the different swords. The red Reuben, Echinodorus red flame, ornamental sword. There's some Crypt walkeri in here. Crypt red devil, which is a narrow leaf one. Of course, Crypt wendetti. I have that in all the Tropica versions. And then they've got all sorts of little CPDs and erythromicrons in here from Lake Inlay and from Myanmar. Looking really, really nice. This Echinodorus rose sparkles. Also, look at how beautiful the new growth is. It's purple and it has kind of an iridescent color to it, if you can see this, as it gets bigger. Very cool. The plants here alone are worth the trip. And back here, looks like they've got their shrimp section. So we'll see what they've got. They've got very nice looking crystal shrimp. And $7.99 each. Looks like they've also got some red King Kong, yellow King Kong, and kind of your, you know, rare Caridina shrimp on the top there. And then lower down here, we've got for $5.99 Fantasy Blue, and Snowball shrimp, Green Rilly shrimp. So, you know, they have a little bit of everything, of course. More of the fancy red Tiger shrimp, which are a Caridina line. They're only $9.99, which is a really good price for a lot of the country. And, you know, they've got the, well, first they've got the Tangerine Tigers, as you can see, but they've also got the Blue Bolt shrimp. And they have the super red shrimp with the white lines. They've also got the blue blue Tangerine Tiger shrimp. They're not tangerine anymore, but yes, fire red shrimp. And also you can tell they're treating their shrimp well. Even if there is an issue, like I see a planaria here, you know they're going to be treating it. That's why that X is there. I will bet you anything. Also, Amano shrimp. They're kind of the wild color, so I don't think they have the golden ones yet. But they do have golden normal shrimp. So, very cool. They have a lot of really nice looking livestock that is here. But really the plants and the hardscape is what this shop is truly about, more than the fish. So everything from, you know, the food and the chemicals and the test kits, fresh food and things like that. You got your typical, you know, your Hikari stuff going on. your filtration and all that. And then there's really only 3 bays with 6. So 6, 6, and 6 equaling 18. So there's 3 bays of 18 tanks. So it's not like they are super low on fish, but it's not some giant emporium. And here you can see, again, it's the nano fish. They're bringing in these really cool, and they're pretty good prices for the most part, you know, $3.99. Everything looks healthy from what I'm seeing so far. They've got the emerald dwarf rasboras, which we saw in that other tank. Also, they've got the Corydoras schultzi, or rather the black Corydoras. Now, people were looking for these. They used to be called the Venezuelan blacks, and now they're calling them Corydoras black schultzi because it turns out a German guy created them. They are not a wild fish. Their Corydoras, though, look very nice. And now these are no longer Corydoras. So I'm going to have to figure out if they're Hoplosomas or something gasters. I don't even know anymore. Some splash tetras, that's cool. Yo-yo loaches and clown loaches. Some of these really dainty little barbs. Very cool. Pea puffers. So they have all the things you would hope. Look at this. They've even got some of the beautiful rainbow dace. The Cyprinella lutrensis. So pretty. These guys, when they're spawning, absolutely gorgeous. And they are a native North American fish that can live in cool water. So I'm assuming this whole tank is going to be a cool water tank or a room temperature tank. They've also got that, funny enough, near the blue rams, the German blue rams. They've got some balloon body ones. These two look like maybe they're guarding a nest or a clutch of eggs. More Endler's live bearers, N class and K class it looks like, which is cool to see. Gouramis, swordtails, hatchetfish. Nice Gertrude. You can see the difference though between the RU2s, the Gertrude RU2 versus a regular Gertrude Pseudomcgill. And there's also RU4s, and they all have a little bit of different color to them. So we'll have to talk about that sometime soon, but they actually have a newer fish here too. This one was only discovered in 2020 officially, and that's the Trigonostigma heteromorpha, the black harlequin rasbora, but it's not my favorite name for it because it actually has a beautiful iridescence to it, and it has blue and orange, and I'll show you some from my house during our live stream soon. They are mixing it though with the Corydoras adolphoi, which again, I'm not sure which class that pops into now, but with the color, with the orange and the cream and then the kind of bluish silver, looks really cool with those same kind of color tones going on in the rasboras. Really cool stuff. And then they've kind of got a place where they can hook you up with the fish, set you up, and get you on your way.